not understanding. You expect someone who is living with mental illness,
Hmm.
you expect them to function with the same mental cognitivity as you and I to call and be capable of doing so. I'm calling on his behalf.
I understand that you're calling on his behalf, but the individual still has rights under the Mental Health Act
Well,
and
can
advice
you reach
advisors.
out to him? Then I'm not asking you to pry his file open. At least reach out to him. He's being abused at Michael Garron Hospital, being unnecessarily thrown into isolation. When I go to visit my son, I'm
Hmm.
told that he voluntarily walks into these isolation, and I'm learning that it is not so. He is being forced to pick up feces with his bare hands. A lot of things are happening. So I
Ma'am, I'm
am
not
his
trying to
voice
dispute your
right now. I don't know what you're trying to do, but let me just say this. If this call doesn't work and you fail to be willing to reach out to my son, what I'm going to do is make sure that I spread how little you're willing to help my son in that hospital.
so,
Because
ma'am,
from
again, I can't prevent you from doing anything, but I can let you know this is an automatic process under the Mental Health Act. If your son was placed on the floor, we would have had a rights advisor see him within 24 hours of him getting that floor. That is
listen,
automatic.
he got no such form and he needs help. And since
Okay, and
you have all these policies or little clauses set in place that are, from my opinion, a hindrance, tell me who I should call because everybody puts me back to you. The psychiatric patient advocacy office. And I am telling you that there is a mental health patient in Michael Garron Hospital that is being abused. And I'm wondering how you are going to intervene and help him. This is still Canada, right? I'm still
it
in the
is.
country of Canada, right?
Okay, so ma'am, are you going to let me explain the directions that you need to do? Because, like I
Sure,
said,
go
not once
ahead.
did I ever say that we will not assist your son. I'm telling you, it's an automatic process. We would have already reached out and had a conversation directly with your son. In regards to the abuse that you've mentioned that your son is going through, that has to go through the patient relations department at Michael Garron Hospital. Have you
Um,
already reached out directly to them?
I have, and currently there's an upcoming case with the Human Rights Commission
Mm-hmm.
due to the harsh treatment from
Mm-hmm.
that psychiatric team at Michael Garron Hospital. Now, personally, myself, I've been asked to get off a government issued mobility device. Um, a nurse has said openly that she is mentally ill because of patients like my son. I did report that. I've brought all of this to the patient ombudsman. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and also, there are other cases with the lack of um, civility from this hospital that have been broadcasted on CTV News. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel comfortable with the fact that I am my son's voice right now and he is being abused in there.
Okay,
Literally.
like I
And
said.
I have all of this on footage. Uh, to add to this, he recently had below the knee amputation on both feet, and the security still uses excessive physical force to restrain somebody who doesn't have feet.
Hmm. Like I said, I hear what you're saying, and I do apologize apologize for the experience that both you and your son have to endure at the Michael Garron Hospital. You did mention that you've already reported this to the patient ombudsman, which would have been the next step or direction that I would have been providing you. But again, I'm not sure if you answered to me yet in regards to have you reported this to the patient relations department at Michael Garron yet?
I have, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
currently our communication is limited, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's more. I'm not saying it is. I will use the verbiage more than likely because of the fact that there is an open case with the Human Rights
Okay.
Commission.
Not a problem. And secondly, have you reported this to the colleges of physicians and surgeons of Ontario also?
I reported the nurse.
Oh, you did? Okay. So, like I said, you've done all that you can do and all that was required to be done in regards to getting the attention it needs.
How are
But
we
I
going
can
to help my son
let
now?
me finish. Let me finish. How it works here is, like I said, the reason why I asked you to have your son directly contact us is if he calls us, I can access his account information. I can look at who the rights advisor is, when we spoke, if we reached out to him, and what steps need to be taken next. But I would need your son to call us so I can access his account information.
Okay.
That is the only thing
Can-
I was asking you. I wasn't saying we weren't going to help. I just need you to have him call the same number you're speaking to me on.
Okay, I completely understand that step in the process.
Mm-hmm.
However, I cannot do so. My son has not been treated for his schizophrenia and psychosis for more than 6 months now. So me getting through um, his mental state, that hindrance, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's very difficult. Now I can tell you his name. I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering if you can kindly reach out to him because I'm unable to get him to see what he needs to do in order to be assisted so that he is no longer subjected to abuse. Furthermore,
Mm-hmm.
based on my research, somebody who has received amputation should be getting treated from a rehab hospital. The social worker team that has been assigned to that unit has not made any effort to put these sort of services in place for my son. So
Okay.
I don't know what else I need to tell you in order to explain the severity of my son's situation right now. But like I said earlier in our conversation, to know that this is happening in a Canadian hospital, it's unbelievable. Now I'm asking you for help. I cannot get through to my son. There are times when I call and they tell me he's asleep and he'll get the message and he doesn't get my messages. Not only am I dealing with the hindrance of my son's mental state right now, I'm also dealing with the hindrance of the behavior of the staff working on this unit. So I'm asking you, can you please reach out to him then, since you have to go through that procedure? I'm
And I'll let
unable
you know,
to.
ma'am. I'm more than happy to do so, but under the Mental Health Act, we normally cannot access account information without the client
I
verbally speaking directly
understand.
to us. But that's why I said this time I will make an exception, ma'am. But I have to let you know I cannot take any steps other than letting the rights advisor on site know when they're on site. Please visit this individual, but I cannot action it because your son is not the one that initiated this call. And since you have an active investigation going on right now, I have to ensure that we are following our protocols also.
I understand that process. Now, you did say you would show consideration. What are you going to do? Will you be contacting my
No,
son?
I just need you to, like I said, I cannot send anything out, but I can let the rights advisor know. Once I get the name of the individual while you're on site, can you please check in with this individual?
I would appreciate it. I can give you his name.
And what is his name?
Joshua, Jos as in Sam, H as in Harry, U as in umbrella, A as in apple. Fitzroy is the surname, F as in Frank, I,
Sorry. Start the last name again for me, please.
F as in Frank, I
Mm-hmm.
as in Imperial, T as in Tolerance, Z as in Zebra, R as in rhetorical, O as in obnoxious, Y as in yellow. Fitzroy.
Okay. So, like I said, I will send a note to the individual, just letting them know while you're on site, can you please look in and check on this individual? But I cannot send anything out because the individual hasn't called us or requested this.
And how often do advisors visit Michael
Right?
Garron?
They're there every day.
Okay. And what assurance do I have that they will reach out to my son on
I can let you know we've already done it because I'm looking at the account and he was already in touch with the rights advisor
recently?
when the forms were issued, ma'am.
Okay. I'm speaking more in the current than the previous.
Yeah, but like I said, we're only under the Mental Health Act unless the individual calls and requests it. We don't normally follow back up, but the rights advisor is there every day walking the floors, and if the individual sees that individual, they can always flag them up and
He's suffering from mental illness. What do
Ma'am,
you
I understand.
expect?
Hold on, ma'am. Stop. Hold on. Stop, ma'am. You don't need to yell. I know you keep on saying that, but we are trained on how to deal with these individuals, ma'am. This is our job. This we only deal with patients that are being held under the Mental Health Act. So this is nothing new to us. We know how to deal with these individuals.
Do you know how to deal with hospitals that abuse their authority?
This is how, like I said, we don't deal with the staff. We are provincial. We are not part of the hospital. So we would always direct the client what their rights are, what steps need to be taken, and how to get that dealt with.
So who do I address regarding the abuse
You
that
did already, ma'am. You did already. You said you reported it to patient relations, you reported it to the College of Physicians, and you reported it to the Ombudsman already.
and nothing has been done because he still continues to receive the abuse. So
Uh, uh,
basically the way I summarize it is that it doesn't matter. The abuse will continue because nobody really cares to do anything to stop it.
and again, based on how this conversation is going, ma'am, it doesn't sound like anything I say will give you the appeasing that you're looking for.
I'm not asking for appeasement. I'm asking you to assist me to assist my son
And did I
so
not
that
answer
he
that and say
doesn't.
that we would do that,
Actually,
ma'am?
I
Did I
don't
not tell
even
you
know.
we
Like
would do
you
that?
don't even sound phased by what I'm telling you. Is it humanistic to have a mentally ill patient pick up feces with their bare hands?
Ma'am, like I said, don't
Is
let my
that
tone
the
fool you. I deal
Canadian
with this
practice?
all, ma'am. I deal with this all day. I
My
don't
name is
react because
Vanessa. I did identify myself at the start of this call.
so you'd prefer to be called Vanessa instead of me addressing you
Why
as ma'am.
not? Why not? Why be so impersonal, aloof,
Because
and
I was
cold?
raised properly, and my parents always said, anyone that's an adult, you address them correctly, ma'am. So that's the only. It's not a disrespectful thing. I'm not saying that I don't hear what you're saying, but this is our daily job. We deal with these calls all day long, ma'am. Sorry, Vanessa.
Right. Well, I'm sure that you're aware that everybody's world views differ, right?
Yes, and again, you can't expect me, Vanessa, to react just based on what you told me and not be professional. I hear what you're saying. I already said I would make the exception. I already did something I wasn't supposed to do, which is look into the account without the individual being here. I already told you we will have the rights advisor follow up. And then you're attacking me as being not human and not caring.
I didn't say that that was
Ma'am, you,
directed
you didn't say
towards
it in the
me.
exact words, but you did just imply it, ma'am. Sorry for
Well,
messing.
you may have misconstrued. I have every right to be concerned with the fact that this
And
is a
I'm not
Canadian
disputing that, ma'am.
hospital where
I'm not
people,
disputing that.
right, and people are being paid to treat mental illness, not to abuse the mentally ill. And if all these people or all these entities that you say I should consult with who are continuing to allow this to perpetuate, if they are not helping, then where else do you go? What do you expect me to do as a parent? Just sit back and say, well, it's the nature of things or the order of things? It cannot be. Because when I watch the news, Canada is always projecting themselves as a fair country, as a country of compassion, as a country of acceptance. I don't understand what's happening right now. Perhaps maybe I have a lack of knowledge, but no patient, regardless if their illness is within the mental spectrum. No patient deserves to be abused by the people that are being paid to take care of them and ensure that they're treated properly. And that is why I'm calling. And that is why I'm advocating. Because my son doesn't have the capacity to do so on his own. And furthermore, this situation is systemic. Most people don't really listen to the ramblings of a person who is living with mental illness. I'm finished talking now and I'm open to your response.
Okay, again, I heard everything you're saying, Vanessa, and don't let the tone fool you. Like I said, this is our job daily. We are trained. We understand that the individual or our audience are who they are, where they are, and this is the reason why this process was implemented as rights advisors. Because even though under the Mental Health Act, even if you're institutionalized, there's one thing that people fail to realize: you're still human and you still have rights. That is never taken away from the individual, and we ensure that we remind them and we remind everybody around them. It doesn't matter what diagnosis you got, you are still a human and you still have rights, and we ensure that those rights are not trampled.
I completely understand that. I do. I'm just saying at this time, surely there must be room to understand that that individuals such as my son living with mental illness may not be capable of communicating what they're going through. And it's not even a probability, it's a fact. They, they may not know they need treatment. They may not know they're being abused, and it's not their fault in any way. Being mentally ill is not something that was created by oneself. It's an illness, just like cancer and diabetes are illnesses that people who are diagnosed with cancer or disability, they didn't ask for it, they didn't bring it on themselves. It's just something that they develop. It's a developmental thing, just like cancer and just like diabetes. So I just want to say that I need someone to fully understand that while you're talking about rights of the individual, you also have to leave room for the fact that although everybody is entitled to rights and privacy and under the HIPAA Act, you have to understand too as well. Mental illness also includes the capacity impairment, and not a lot of people focus on that. All I'm asking you is to help my son. If he could help himself, I wouldn't be making this phone call. There's a lack of transparency. They have him on The side of the unit that he's on is the unit where patients go to when they initially get admitted to the unit. The doctor has not been transparent with him. They told him if he were to have a month free of incidents, he would go to the other side where he has more privileges, more room to walk around. All of July, there have been no incidents, yet he still remains on the side where, he doesn't have privileges and there's more restrictions in place. So I'm just wondering if you're already aware that I cannot bring this to the patient relations team, who can I address these concerns to?
And a question: why can't you bring it to them? Because it is their hospital, it's their hospital rules, and wondering why they're not following or obliging by their own rules. Those do need to go directly to patient relations.
You've asked me a fantastic question, one that I've been asking since the 9th of April. Unfortunately, I have not received an answer. There is a word called bias. Right now, based on the fact that I did escalate my concerns to the Human Rights Commission, I won't use the word that there is. It's likely or probable that there's some bias involved with myself in the hospital as well as the treatment of my son. So that could be a reason. It is a great question, though. I will give you a thumbs up on that. I should be able to address my concerns to patient relations. Unfortunately, doing so does not provide any positive outcomes for my
So
son.
I will give you one last suggestion here before we wrap this call up here, man.
Yep.
Everything you've mentioned to me is, again, the way it works is patient relations is supposed to resolve your issue. They're supposed to take into consideration whatever your questions, query, or inquiries are. In the event you don't feel like you're getting the results or the updates or the information you're looking for, that's why there's the patient ombudsman available. So they will also ask you, did you give them sufficient time or did you give them a reasonable amount of time or information to resolve, fix, or make better whatever the inquiry or situation was? In the event that is not happening, this is when you go back to the patient ombudsman and say, hey, I've given them X amount of date and time. I've given this concern and query to them, and yet I feel as though based on, and again, you can't sugarcoat this, you can't beat around the bush. If you believe this is exactly what it is, it's something that has a racist nature towards the individual that the complaints are against, or towards the patient ombudsman needs to see this. Because remember, that department is Freedom of Information Act. It can be sequestered, it can be requested, it can be viewed by the public. So they have to have that transparency. So if you bring this forth and you feel as though patient relations at the hospital is not doing anything and now the patient ombudsman is not doing anything, it's a Freedom of Information Act. You can go public with this information.
Well, after the patient ombudsman, who was there to go to?
Like I said, that's the three-pronged steps that we were directed that we can provide. It's either the colleges, the patient relations, or the ombudsman.
Okay, thank you for your advice. Well, I
Okay.
appreciate that you will ask uh, the patient advisor to reach out to my son. I do thank you for that. I
Mm-hmm.
just wish that there was more help for people in my son's predicament right now.
I hear you. And like I said, it's just if you, it's not like I said, it's not that we don't care or we may sound like we don't care. Man, this is our job. This is what we do on a daily basis. And like I said, the directions we give are what we are provided to provide the individual to give them the assistance or the answers or outcome they're looking for.
Well, it's just
Like I said, I take my job very personal. I've been doing this job for 15 years, and it has not jaded me. It has not made me cold. I do feel for the individuals, but then again, there are rules that we have to follow, and I can't just willy nilly break these rules, especially if things come back. I could potentially make it worse for your son and you because I didn't follow these rules.
in no way am I asking you not to comply with your policies and procedures. I am just asking that somebody
Hmm.
listen to my son and take into consideration factual things that are happening to my son. Now it's
And this is
very
why,
hard.
sorry to cut you here, ma'am, but this is why we are Ministry of Health and they're the hospital. We're separate entities. Our information can be sequestered, Freedom of Information Act also. This is why we don't keep detailed information because, again, it's records and our medical records to the individual. Although it's a Freedom of Information Act, we hear your concerns, and this is why we're equipped to direct you as to where to go to get these concerns addressed, what the steps are to take to ensure that something's happening. And the last thing that I can give you is we can give you the lawyer referral services number, and you can speak directly to someone there and see legally what are your next steps if none of these things work out.
Okay, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
So let me know when you have a pen and paper, and I can provide you with the information.
Sure, just a minute. Okay, the number.
Okay, and again, that is the lawyer referral services.
Okay,
Phone number beginning with area code is going to be 1855
yes.
947
Okay,
5255.
thank you very much.
No problem. And I wish you and your son all the best, and we will have a rights advisor touch base with the individual.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Take care.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.